I just fixed this. I swear I'm never paying taxes again. Welcome to Legends of Gotham, where we talk about Fox's hit series Gotham, set in the world of Batman. I'm Phil Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
And we are back, folks. We're back after like a year and a half that we haven't been doing this show. We're finally doing it. We have a whole new setup, a whole new house, a whole new bunch of technology.
We've got champagne!
Here. Champagne I have H2O here.
I'll drink the bubbles then.
Yeah, I'm not drinking any of your Gotham juice. Did we call it Gotham juice? I can't remember.
No, it was Maroni's Special Blend.
Oh yeah, Maroni's Special Blend. I totally forgot.
Yep.
But we're coming to you, as we're going to be doing for the next 12 weeks, live at youtube.universebox.com at 9 p.m. EST on Sunday nights.
Yes, and shout out to Joel and Bobby over in the chat room already. Woo!
Yeah, great to see you guys there. Hopefully we have some more people coming up. I think we actually have feedback from both of those people.
We do have feedback from both of those people.
So it'll be good. So Anne-Marie, we kind of addressed this in our last episode. That was kind of like a 15 minutes, hey, we're coming back thing. But what have you been up to in the interim?
I am a substitute teacher and freelance social media specialist.
Very nice.
So what's that do for you? It's I keep kids from killing each other and try to teach them fractions. And then I try and teach adults how to use the interwebs because I'm a millennial and they don't get it.
So not a lot of talking Gotham then.
There isn't a lot of talking Gotham, but there are some people occasionally.
Yeah, it's like even through the last season, we didn't really talk about it that much, or at least not as much as we're going to do tonight.
Right, not at all. Like we have already in the past 2 weeks talked about Gotham more than we have in the past year and a half.
Oh, definitely.
And it's wonderful. It feels so natural. It feels like I've been missing a limb or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like right back into it. I was worried about it until we sat down today to take our notes for year 0, and everything just flowed. I wrote like 6 pages worth of notes.
Just kept writing and writing and writing. So what have you been up to in the, past year and a half or so?
Oh, well, I don't want to get into too much detail because we're getting...
All right, well then, back to Gotham.
It's our sponsor for the episode, so
okay, fine.
We'll be dealing with that a little bit later. But besides that, I don't know, just been kicking around, doing my thing,
Kicking around.
You know how I do.
I do know how you do.
Okay, so we are going to be adhering to pretty much the same format we used to use.
There's a few small changes.
Few little tweaks.
A smewful small changes.
And again, we're expecting that this broadcast is going to blow up
sometime. Something will probably
yeah,
crash.
Definitely. So
hi, Holly.
Be prepared for that. Hi, Holly in the chat room. How's it going? Okay, so how do we start this? It's been so long.
Ooh, I get to do a rhyming, quizzical...
Anne-Marie, why don't you go ahead and get us started with the rhyming, riddling episode summary.
What's happened to Gotham in the months since we vanished? Gothamites cowered, defenseless and famished. Will no man's land fall to the criminal element? A flash forward sets a chilling new precedent. But what of Selina? She's lounging in bed. Will Bruce's quest for the witch expose a new story thread? With no hope in sight, Gotham finds a hero. You gotta start the end somewhere. Let's begin with year 0.
Year 0!
Mm-hmm.
Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
It was so pretty.
It was pretty.
It was so pretty. Like the cinematography of these episodes has gotten better and better, and it's so devastating that it's the last season.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always been a beautiful show.
I know, but the opening sequence was amazing.
You know what gives me some faith, though?
What?
A bit of news that came out between the time we did the end of the show and the beginning of the show is that the same team, the Gotham team, is going to be doing a Gotham prequel, more or less, called Pennyworth.
Ah, yes, Pennyworth.
So a lot of the same crew, same technical people, all that sort of stuff.
Will it be murky?
But not too murky.
Oh, good.
But not too murky. As for the episode, I really enjoyed it too. Good. It was really neat.
Oh,
it was really
neat.
Cool. It was neat and cool. We actually we went back and watched the last few episodes. Well, maybe
kind of. We actually skipped the finale because we ran out of time before the season premiere.
We went back and watched the Jeremiah arc, and then just kind of watched the recap at the beginning of this episode.
So good.
But we have it more or less down. So where do we go from here? I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and it's driving me a little crazy.
Well, I'm going to talk to the chat room. Adora, we missed the rhymes too. Though I can't even tell you how many drafts we had to go through for this one because it's been so long.
Yeah,
he would hand it to me and I'm like, you're going to have to, this doesn't rhyme. I was like, that's not the word I told you to change.
There's too many words there.
There's too many words. That doesn't need an S. So finally, after like 45 minutes, we got there. So we're glad you enjoyed it.
And expect for them to improve as we go along.
Hopefully by the 12th one, it could be like a publishable sonnet.
Definitely.
Maybe
weren't at some point where we're going to publish all of our riddling, rhyming episode summaries in a book or something?
I feel like something.
And then we never did.
We still could.
Yeah, we could.
But we skipped a year.
You know what? Darn it. If you look at that lower third down below here, down here, we're supposed to be talking about year 0, and we're completely off the rails on some other topic right now.
No, we're not.
I'd say so.
All right, fine. Talk about year 0.
Okay, I'm going to talk about year 0. Okay. So my first point to bring up here, and we're using paper too.
It's so weird.
Which is weird because my computer's all the way over there. Okay. Year 0. Really great episode, really strong start to the season. It did strike me as a little familiar. My first point is called The Gotham Dead. Now this episode... I felt had several similarities to how The Walking Dead has approached survival in an apocalyptic scenario. I kind of made some notes as we were watching the episode of some similarities you might see. First of all, Penguin's situation. He who makes the bullets kind of owns the world. Yeah. There's I forget the name of the character on The Walking Dead, but there was.
Don't worry, I won't know him anyway.
It might have been Eugene. There was a guy who figured out how to make bullets on The Walking Dead, and he suddenly became very valuable to everybody. Then sort of an irritable populace due to lack of food, supplies, medicine, all that kind of stuff.
I can sympathize. I am irritable when I do not get food as well.
Definitely. And I think you most blatantly see that in the scene in the GCPD where that guy's like, yo, Jim, I need food.
The cops are getting more than the rest of us. No, sir, there's just no food.
Okay, another aspect of this is, often in The Walking Dead, they'll find a safe haven, and then that safe haven will become surrounded by zombies. They can't get out. There's no help coming in from the outside. And that's very much what we see here in No Man's Land with the bridges blown out and everything. They're isolated. The government's not helping them out at all. Yeah. Also, and this is a Walking Dead trope. You might like it. You might hate it. I normally hear people talking about it in a negative context. The slow montage at the beginning of a season to show us where all the characters are, or in this case will be, sort of like the long drawn out to one pop song 2.5 minute. Let's look at Jim. Let's look at Harvey, which they did in this episode.
They did.
Although it was kind of a twist because it ended up being a flash forward.
I love a good flash forward. I love it.
And speaking of that, colorful factions are all warring against each other, each with their own ethos and philosophical standpoint. You see that in the different, what are they, the sectors, I think, that they laid out? I think
he called it sectors.
Yeah, there's like Mr. Freeze and Fireflyer at odds right next to each other.
I have a feeling that they said that Mr. Freeze and Firefly are at odds over here, like very kind of nondescript, because maybe they're not coming back and they're just like, they're over there fighting each other, so they'll kill each other, and we couldn't bring those two back.
Well, they've had a couple big fire and ice fights, haven't they?
They do. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make sense. So. Anyway.
Okay, but, overall, though, I'm not saying that Gotham is ripping off The Walking Dead. In fact, far from it. I think the fact that they're tapping into all these sort of post-apocalyptic tropes just shows that they really get what the story of No Man's Land is supposed to be. And they're really embracing it and leaning into it. And I love it. And I can't wait to see who the helpful people outside the city who are going to jump in and help Jim.
Yes.
So any thoughts on that, Anne-Marie, the Gotham Dead?
My vast knowledge of The Walking Dead ends at knowing it's called The Walking Dead and took place in Atlanta. So we're going to move on to my point.
Well, anything from the chat room real quick?
Let's see. You're out of focus, but sorry, we kind of know that. We're having, it's all technical stuff.
Yeah, it's from here we're okay.
It's when we zoom in so you can actually see our faces. We're out of focus.
We'll get tightened up.
Yes. Let's see. Bobby says fire versus ice. Adora says, I enjoyed the exposition intro. I loved it too, Adora.
Oh, definitely.
And Joel says it's a steamy situation, which I'm assuming is fire and ice. Bobby, they did a good job of introducing us without necessarily hitting us over the head with expo. Truth.
Definitely.
But it brought up questions.
And the thing is, it being a flash forward. It's kind of not exposition in that sense. It's more like, okay, here's where the characters are in 6 months, and now let's go ahead and back 6 months or in a year.
391 versus 87.
I don't math.
We know you don't math, but I do math.
Okay, so Anne-Marie, go ahead.
Okay, so the contrast between day 87 and day 391 was kind of ridiculous to me. So truth be told, when they did, so I saw the 391, I was like, hey, is that about how many days it's been since like the final episode of last season? I didn't do the maths on that, but I think it's probably pretty close.
We're not maths people.
We're not maths people. But I totally missed the first watch or first time airing that it's a day 87. I knew we had obviously gone back, but in the replay, I was like, oh, 87. That makes so much sense now.
Well, I didn't stay sort of looped into all of the promos and stuff too, but I think a lot of the promos had like day 74, day 69.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah,
so we should have watched those.
Probably. But it's not like we're doing a podcast about it anymore.
No.
Wait a second.
Not at all.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
So, things we learned in day 87 that prompt me lots. Like, this is like a page long point. Sorry. There's still electricity in the streets, the GCPD, the Sirens Club, and all that, which is such a contrast to when we see day 391, where there's no lights except candles, which I'm just curious where they got all the candles. So at some point they're turning off the electric. I don't know who, probably the governments.
You know what kind of occurred to me though, when the power was going off? Wouldn't those engines that Jeremiah built last season that eventually became the bombs, wouldn't they come in handy at this point?
They would. Too bad they blew them up.
Yeah, but that's a little plot point floating out there. Might turn into something down the road.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't think of that. Okay. Somehow the Sirens at 87 days are still stocked with food and drink, and everyone else is struggling, which is interesting because while, yes, it was a club, and so they probably already had some quantity on hand, I don't imagine they had 3 months worth of food on hand. Like, I wouldn't see them as being the type of people to go, like, round it up real quick.
Yeah.
I almost would have seen Penguin do something like that first. So I was a little surprised by that.
Well, I'd imagine in the first couple months of the city going down that they would probably have a bit more leeway and power than they do when we pick up with them now.
Well, I'm sure, but I'm just... it's just interesting that no one else was able to get that. That not even Penguin or Scarecrow were able to get that amount of food and stow it away somewhere.
Speaking of Scarecrow, real quick, I just want to say what an awesome job they're doing on his makeup. Like he looks otherworldly. Yeah. And it's just
I thought it was a mask.
It is a mask.
Oh, okay.
It is a mask. I think it's just like glued on very well or something. I don't know if Casa Kamosha's in the chat room, Shalane or Dean, they might know.
They might know, yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good. It looks like there's pieces of the mask that are like attached to his jowls and stuff, so it moves more. It's really neat. Really neat stuff.
Ed being completely confused, which I think is hilarious, and I know you have more on that later, so I won't go too much. But I do think it's a little strange we never saw Lee or Strange after the way that we saw them at the end of the last episode.
I might have a theory coming up.
Exactly, so I'm going to walk away from that. Penguin just doing his thing. And I love that when Jim is giving the government an update, he says that the Penguin is in the mayor's mansion, as if that's weird. He was the mayor. It was his home for like a whole season. So I thought that was strange.
Speaking of, was that Ed's house he got from Pee Wee Herman, or Penguin's house he got from Pee Wee Herman that Ed was in the Flash Forward?
I legit have no idea. There are so many.
The one
mansions.
where he ate his stepsister.
I know what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
I just did not memorize the sets.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And they were lit by funny candles and there was blood. So, and then I have a big question. What exactly is the status of Wayne Manor? Because we only see Bruce and Alfred at the GCPD/clinic, which is, or I don't think it's even the GCPD. It looks like it's like a storage unit building that they've converted with an attached clinic. Which is, I don't understand. Like, is the manor still standing? So this is the problem with the paper. And the Batcave. What's up with the Batcave and the old computer and all of that stuff? Like, have Bruce and Alfred just been staying with everybody else for security? There's his everybody else is, I don't know. Or have they been going back and forth? It seems very unlikely that they're going back and forth.
I've gotten some small, subtle indications from various promos and things actors have said, though, that they are going to be addressing more of the Batman mythos later this season. Just a little bit.
I'm sure
just
they will.
Maybe a little Batcave or something in there.
Okay. Over, let's see, in the chat, let's see. Bobby says that maybe Barbara has some sort of connection outside of town because that's quite a bit of food to have months later. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. And Dora says, I think that speaks to the stereotype of women being caretakers. And you know what? I like it because I especially liked that they only took care of women and men had to buy their way in. Usually with information. Yeah, I loved that.
I thought it was kind of like the whole pumpkin time concept.
Pumpkin time.
It's almost like a reverse ladies' night or something like that. Like
no, the women always get in for free for that.
Yeah,
stuff.
but the men have to pay to get in, but they have to leave. I don't know. It was a thought I didn't think was worth talking about on the show, and here we are talking about it. So
lovely. Okay, so day 391, which was far more interesting than day 87. Not that 87 wasn't interesting. So electric on dark, we were talking about the candles. Ed seems to finally know who he is, so sometime over that year he's had a revelation. The Penguin does not seem to be mad at Jim for shooting him anymore, so progress there. Hip hip. Okay, Harvey actually was my biggest question. So it's apparently a point got completely deleted. Harvey was at the bar, which isn't normally a weird thing, but it seemed weird in this context. Because he hasn't really been back at that bar for a while, you know, static bar number 2. But he was there all by himself, surrounded by his candles, pouring one out for I don't know who, picking up his gun, going to join the crew.
Yeah.
Is he not a part of the GCPD? Is he off on his own?
You're talking in the flash forward?
The flash forward at the very beginning. I thought that was a little bit weird because it seemed very much a day 87. Everybody was together all the time. And was it maybe at the flash forward that they sort of all separated and came together for this one thing?
Yeah, I just got the impression that, you know, the Gotham was surrounded by walkers. I mean, people who have guns or something.
I don't know. And that's my next question.
No, but it was just like it felt like, okay, I'm having my last shot of whiskey before.
But he didn't take the shot. He didn't take the shot. That was the part that actually really got me. Is he poured the shot and left it sitting there.
I was going to say, did he become a recovered alcoholic? But I'm pretty sure him and Jim have drank together within the past season.
There's no way. Yeah. And then, like, we don't see the sirens or Bruce or Alfred in that whole scene either, which is a little funny. But then the big question I have, who are they fighting? Who are they fighting? Because that totally doesn't look like Jeremiah's gang with tanks. First of all, how did tanks get into Gotham?
Well, they're coming into the city, like they're surrounding this wall around the city. So I was assuming the government.
See, that was what I was assuming too. But why are we shooting at them? When in day 87, we're begging them to come help us.
Well, I will say that in the original No Man's Land story, and it has been a long time since I've read it, but the government is definitely an adversary to them. Not only do they, shut them out and block them off from the world, but several times they actually launch, attacks into the city to try and destroy it because they're like, we have all these crazies trapped in here. Let's just get rid of them and call it a day.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. So yeah, that's my first point. 27 minutes later.
Well, luckily we've cut down on the points. We've cut down the points by 2, but we've increased the length of each point by 3 times. So it's good.
You're welcome.
Anything new from the chat room?
Let's see. Joel says it's probably a casting budget issue why we haven't seen Firefly freeze Lee and all that. I'm not convinced on that, but it's very possible.
I have a theory on Lee coming up.
We have theories, or he has theories on that. And Bobby says, of course, Bullock made the local bar his home.
Very nice.
You mean Siren by that point? Yes, I do mean Siren. Well, maybe. See, okay, so at the end where we don't see the sirens in the beginning, one of the sirens kind of has been Kat also. And just based on promos, we know she will walk again. So we don't see her either. So I'm going to go with that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so
your
all
turn.
Done.
Tag,
we've addressed the chat room.
We've addressed the chat room.
I guess I should pick up my papers here. What are we talking about again? Oh, yeah, Gotham. And
that joke is over now.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so my next point I've subtly titled, "It's Evolution, Baby." Now we see Ed here for the first time since the last time. It's pretty awesome. First off, I just love his new hairstyle. Very much obviously modeled off of Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, like the long, bangy kind of hair. Yeah. So I love that little reference there. There's a lot of Schumacher Burton references in this show, just in general. But back to Ed. Love his hair. I just, they set up this whole mystery with him. Why does the Riddler keep disappearing? And why can't he dial up Ed in the mirror for a quick chat / confrontation? Based on the last place we saw Ed, though, I have a little bit of a theory, Anne-Marie, and I want to know what you think about this.
Let me hear it.
Okay, so when we last saw Ed, he was next to Lee on a slab in the lab of Hugo Strange. So Strange really likes creating his monster mashups, as he did back in Arkham when the monsters took over Gotham City. And we were led to believe he'd be doing the same thing with the bodies, because they were dead at that point, I think, of Ed and Lee.
Correct.
So my theory is that the Riddler is blacking out and wandering around the ruins of Gotham. And it isn't Ed who's steering the ship. The Riddler's mad at Ed right now. It's not Ed who's doing it. It's Lee. I think Hugo Strange combined Lee and Ed into some sort of like amalgam, to where when he's awake, he's the Riddler, and when he's asleep, he becomes Lee, or Lee takes over. Think about like Firestorm from Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, all that stuff with Firestorm and Professor Stein, where there's the dude living in his head.
Okay.
Kind of thing. I think that
I'm going to take your word for that.
But I think that might be the same kind of situation that's happening with Ed and Lee.
Could that explain his long hair?
That could explain his long hair. Maybe it like split the difference, because Ed had kind of
really short hair.
She had long hair, so he has medium length hair. Now I like that.
I mean, I'm straws pulling. Yes, please.
No, but it's just kind of cool because I think this combination is sort of like plays on that Jekyll and Hyde trope that Ed's character has always been all about.
Right.
Except when the bad guy goes to sleep, the good doctor wakes up, sort of thing. Yeah. Kind of like a reverse of the Jekyll and Hyde thing. Yeah. So I'm loving it and everything else. And I hope, if nothing else, we'll get a few scenes somewhere in the future
with Ed in a dress,
where Head Lee is admonishing the Riddler for, I don't know, eviscerating someone's guts or something like that. That'd be fun. Like, just have Lee's head pop up here and be like, "Hey, Ed, don't do that." Yeah. That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, anything from the chat room?
Let's see. Sean says, my understanding is that the attackers are mercenaries that are working with the army captain-based Bane that are attacking the city as a whole. So that's interesting.
That could be interesting. Could also be spoilers.
It could also, but hey, we don't know.
Yeah.
Joel says, I kept waiting for the surgery on Kat to involve an experimental procedure where she receives a heart of a large wild cat. I don't think that happens, no. But everybody else seems to like your theory.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, and as far as Selina, I have some more comments about that coming up. I'm not exactly happy with the direction they're taking with her, but we'll see what happens.
Exactly. You never know what happens. Okay. Speaking of cats, rest in peace, Tabby. Tabby. She was. What are you? Get out of my shots!
I was just peeking into your shot.
No. So she's never been really one of my favorite characters at all.
No,
but
I was thinking about it last night when we were watching. It was just like, it's so random that she's still involved in the show from being just like a minor character in season 2. Like, she outlasted Gallivant,
Right. I think she was supposed to have a bigger role, and then I think that whole storyline took a twist.
Yeah.
And she survived it. And I think it's because of her relationship with Barbara that she survived it, and then led to the relationship with Butch, which led to all of that.
Yeah.
So she's never been one of my favorite characters, but she'll be missed because of what she brought, like little bits that she brought to the story. It's always she taught Cat a lot of like how to use the whip, which is an important thing for Catwoman.
Yeah.
So she served her purpose.
And she also gave Barbara something to bounce off of.
Aha. Yes. Her beef with Penguin, however, I will not miss. It feels like it's been dragged out for way too long. However, I'm really curious as to how Barbara's going to recover from the loss of her. They sort of balanced each other. When one was going crazy, the other one pulled them back, and vice versa. They just, if one was getting a little crazy and the other was like, okay, see, we don't need to do this here.
Mhm.
Or they both were just beating up everybody and killing them all.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Babs actually
That's what
going up against Penguin, because I don't think anyone has ever gone after him with a vengeance and won.
No, that's still around and kicking. He goes away and then he comes back because a cockroach is hard to kill. But yeah, so they keep each other in check. But now, who does she have to work with? Like, Selina's out at the moment. Who else is going to help run the sirens? Because there's no way she can run this all on her own. And her posse of
the League of Feminist Assassins.
The League of Feminist Assassins. Yeah. I'm going to take it. Not right, but I'm going to take it. Aren't going to run a club. They're there to do her bidding. They don't like it. I'm surprised they're still there, to be honest with you. They serve the claw. No, demon's head, not claw. but it feels like it's like the monkey's paw.
Oh yeah,
when it glows and you wait for like a finger to go. But like, who she could team up with? Ivy? Is Ivy still on the show? I don't think we killed her off, but I don't know who's playing her anymore. They hire a fourth actress. Like, I don't understand.
They hired Abe Vigoda to play Ivy in this season.
I just would rather them bring back the OG, but that's not going to happen.
The OG Ivy. Maybe they'll bring her back for like one little scene or something.
Yeah, it'll be a flashback.
Like right at the end of the series, they'll age her forward or age her backwards again. So
doubtful.
Yeah.
Highly doubtful.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. You ready, man?
Okay. Yeah. So, so we mentioned before that we're following. Oh, actually, anything from the chat room real quick?
Adora says to stay out of my shot.
Hold on. Let me put your shot back. And then
out of my shot. And Holly says she thinks it's going to be a draw between Oswald and Babs.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so format of the show, pretty much the same. There's one segment, a fan favorite.
That we had to cut.
Because, I mean, he's basically there. We used to do Look at This Joker all the time. Look at this Joker!
Look at this Joker.
Look at this Joker. This is a section where we do the stuff and the thing and the junk. I don't remember what I actually said.
It's been 2 years.
But yeah, we're not going to be doing that anymore because
we've been looking at this Joker. We had a Joker. He died. We have another Joker. We know he's going to fall into the Joker.
We know what he looks like in makeup, without makeup.
When he's pretending to be sane, when he's pretending not to be sane, when he's in a grave, out of a grave. We know it all.
So we were thinking, what could we replace that segment with that would have sort of the same oomph and staying power, and also the sort of research side? Stay out of my shot. But sort of the research side that Look at This Joker had, as well as sort of the observational commentary on the episode side. So we have figured something out, and we whipped up a little something special just to announce it. So let's go ahead. What's going on? I guess there's no music.
All right, light the night.
Light the night. That's right. We're going to light the night. In our new reoccurring for the next 12 weeks segment, we shine a spotlight on pivotal steps on Bruce's path to the bat. So, Anne-Marie, what are we shining a light on tonight?
The bat signal,
Bat signal. Yes, the bat signal was in this episode.
The bat signal.
Pretty much.
And the best part about that, I was going to put it in here, but I didn't, is that Jim was in the trench. And Bruce was in his proto-Batman costume.
Oh, yeah.
He was in his outfit that Lucius had made him. So I thought that was very...
Well, there were a lot of bat-centric contributions by Lucas in this...
Lucius?
Lucas. Lucius's cousin. No, but there were a lot of bat-centric contributions by him, including the night goggles, which I really love because... if nothing else, very bat-like. He got blinded by the light. Blinded by the light. The light. We're back. No, but he got blinded by the light, very much like a bat would, maybe. Well, I guess no, they see with sonar, maybe. I don't know how bats work. I don't science. We don't math and we don't science.
Yes, we do.
But no, that was a very cool scene when they were on top of the GCPD with the thing. And there were so many references to the pilot in this episode, specifically Out of Darkness, There Will Be Light. You know, this line
There will be light.
The line I delivered in the fan trailer.
I know, that's all I could see was like you talking to a monkey on the stairs.
Yeah, but there
will be light, little monkey. There will be light. There
was that reference to it. And then I forget who said something that was sort of like the inverse of it. And Jim was kind of like, yeah, basically, I guess. Or like Scarecrow said it. He was like, in darkness, there is only fear or something like that.
Fear lives in the darkness.
Yeah, fear lives in the darkness, and it was kind of like the flip flop of Jim's line from the pilot and early on in this episode.
Got it.
No, but very cool moment, and it definitely started a plot trend in this episode of Jim becoming very accepting of Bruce as a vigilante.
Yes, I loved that. And the fact that he told him that anytime that Bruce wanted to fight, he was welcome.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's a far cry from every other time that they've
like in the first handful of episodes, Jim has this like 3-minute long monologue about how he hates vigilantes.
Yes.
And then this episode, he's like, you know what? That's cool. That's cool. You know,
That's
you
cool.
do you. You do you, Bruce.
You do you, Bruce. You do you.
So I guess that does it for our first official Light the Night segment. Light the Night!
Light the night!
There might be music here on the stream. There might not.
Probably
Light
not.
the Night. Light the
night.
Night. We'll be back next week with more Light the Night. We don't have a web page like we used to for it.
There's no like Light the Night thing.
Yeah, but also something else we don't have. Normally, at this part of the show, we'd be doing a Patreon ad read. We don't what's going on in the chat room.
Joel, Legends of Gotham. We don't math. We don't science. We just bat and look at that Joker.
Yes, indeed. Look at that
Joker.
Okay, normally we would have our Patreon ad read here. We're not doing the Patreon anymore. Some people still contribute, which is awesome.
Yeah, I was like, rumor has it there's still some patrons.
Because if nothing else, it's been covering our web hosting costs for the archiving. Yes. But we're not going to be doing that anymore. Instead, we figured we'd advertise to you a new project we've been working on with a lot of friends of the show. So we're going to go ahead and run the trailer now.
In this crazy mixed up world, you need fake news you can depend on.
Count on.
When news is breaking, it's probably the fakest.
It's probably the fakest that's breaking it. That's me. I'm Paul Defoe.
We've got a commercial, Paul.
Breaking the fake news for real. From KCOM Studios in somewhere west of New York City, this is The Fakest.
Only one podcast is on it. On the scene, making up, breaking the fake news for real. With more reporters, covering more fake stories. Coming June 18th to Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcast, and VoiceFacts. I can also email you the transcript if you want. Check us out at thefakest.com and subscribe on Apple Podcast for a new thrilling episode every 2 weeks. Pretty timely. The Fakest. We fake it when we make it.
And that is The Fakest, covering the fake news for real. It's I've been calling it a sketch dramedy podcast or a sketch comedy podcast with a plot. Yes. There's ongoing characters, you know, the whole news team, their whole family. They get into all sorts of misadventures, and more importantly, you know, you have me as the lead anchor, Paul Defoe.
Truth.
Anne-Marie plays Ella Fitzpatrick and other
many
random
other
voices.
bit parts that need filled in.
And then we have a lot of other familiar faces to you, like Derek and John, or voices, like Derek and John from the Gotham TV podcast, Rebecca and Morgan from Supergirl Radio, a longtime voicemail caller and person in the chat room right now, Bobby Hawk, and us, of course. Casa Commotion, too. If you know the fabulous Gotham cosplayers, they're in it too, but it's awesome. It's great. You should check it out if you like our stuff. We're going to be starting up season 2 in just a couple of months. Check it out at thefakest.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. Anything new from the chat room since we've been advertising, Anne-Marie?
Nah, we're good.
No, we're good? Well, I was going to take a drink. Now I have to
Okay, fine. Adora says, Jim was saying that Bruce is welcome was so cool, and Bobby agreed.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for agreeing, guys. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Time for one of my patented Nostradamus level theories about Gotham. I think I know who shot down the chopper of supplies.
I do too.
Okay, so Bruce's billions come in handy to smuggle supplies into no man's land, but a well-timed rocket launcher brings the clever plan to a violent halt, as we see, you know, about 3/4 of the way through the episode. So who shot down the rocket? To answer that, I think first we have to ask who would have access to the information that the supplies were en route to Gotham. Because, I mean, that was sort of like a very privileged few. I think it was just Bruce and Jim, wasn't it?
I thought it was.
Yeah.
And, well, Alfred, because Alfred called and made the arrangement.
Yeah, Alfred called and made the arrangement. So
really, Bruce did nothing but fund the adventure.
So we don't really know who could have known about this. But since Bruce arranged the drops with his billions and billions of dollars, Odds are somebody with access to the Wayne Enterprises Industries. I forget what they call it on this show.
I don't even know.
It's been a while. But
been a while.
To his computer systems, would only someone with access to his computer systems would be able to sniff out the shipment. So I started thinking, who do we know on Gotham who would have access to Wayne's computers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first suspect, obviously Lucius, but I severely doubt it was him because he's just awesome. Next is Tabitha, maybe, because didn't her and Theo Gallivan get control of the Wayne Company back in season 2 briefly?
Maybe, but she was most definitely not focused on this type of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, she was looking for a way to get back at Penguin, having a helicopter full of supplies crash down. But Penguin's going to be there immediately, and then he'll be ready, or she'll be ready for him when he gets there, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't buy that one.
You don't buy that one?
Nope.
Yeah, it's a little weak too.
Yep.
The only reason I really even suggested is it just seemed like she completely came out of nowhere in that scene where they're dealing with the helicopter.
No, she didn't.
Where did she? What do you mean?
Her and Barbara were sitting there, were arguing in the office, and she was like, "Is that a helicopter?" And
you know what? I missed that on the second watch through. Thank you for.
I love when you're wrong and I'm right.
I love when I'm wrong. I love being corrected. Like, it's one of my favorite things in the world. Okay, so obviously the first two options are a bunch of BS. Jada made it okay. So my money is on Jeremiah. Jeremiah, he had deep access to the Wayne Company back when he was working on the batteries with Bruce. He had the trust of the guard when he came in there later on after his transformation. And, I think it's pretty likely that it's him because a rocket launcher really just seems like Jeremiah's style.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've had Penguin use a rocket launcher before, too. When he killed Gallivan?
Was it him?
Or maybe
it was Butch.
Oh, it was Butch.
And unfortunately, Butch is no longer with us.
But yeah, I think the most likely suspect is Jeremiah. He probably saw the information, and he really wasn't liking them trying to rebuild the city since his mission is to rebuild the city. So he just shot it down just to cause more chaos.
Well, because he wants to, in order to rebuild something, you have to knock it down to nothing.
Exactly. And I mean, we know, even though he hasn't been seen, he's active in the city because of Echo's appearance in this episode.
Which comes shortly after this.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Okay, so overall, I'm pretty sure it was Jeremiah. I would love to hear opinions in the chat room. Anne-Marie, anything from the chat room?
Not about that.
Not about that?
Nope. So, we're going to move on to my point.
Fair enough.
Who the heck are the allies across the river? Who are these allies? So I decided to go and dig a little. What is across the river from Gotham? Have we ever discussed that?
Well, in Batman v Superman, it was Metropolis.
Oh, look, there's my notes. It's Metropolis. Because according to this map on Gizmodo or something or enough, where they have them placed, it was a map that was made for like the 80s and 90s comics or something. I was like, that could work. That's not really across the river, but, using that as a jumping off point, I could see that working. And so it's totally possible that the voice came from Metropolis. And yes, this is me pulling at straws. And yes, I put that in the notes because I have no idea. But the most concerning part about this entire thing is that the only person to hear this message was Echo. Mm-hmm. And I have to wonder, why is no one manning this radio at all times? You could sit one of the refugees there with a pencil and paper just to man it.
Well, it feels like there might be a couple other issues that people...
there's a few other issues in the whole situation.
I kind of got the sense, too, from some lines from Harvey and some other characters in this episode that everyone else has pretty much just given up hope on any government intervention whatsoever.
Well, this isn't government intervention. This is the people across the river.
But I think they
think that only...
They were using the radio, remember? Because he calls the government guy and he hangs up on him?
Yes, I do.
Or he just doesn't respond?
Yeah. Just tell us we're on our own. Cricket.
But as far as who that might be, my thought was that we do know, and I think it was mentioned in the chat room too, that Bane is coming in later on this season. And we know in some versions of the story he has ties to Ra's al Ghul and his people. In other versions, he's, a military guy from, I believe, Mexico. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But, so I was thinking, maybe it's someone untoward, like those people we see in the flash forward at the beginning of the episode, who were trying to lull them into a false sense of security so they can come in and take over the city.
Interesting.
That was my thought.
Interesting.
That woman was a little too friendly for my taste.
That woman?
The woman on the radio.
She was a little too friendly?
Yeah.
Who do you think she would be if she was in Metropolis?
If she was in Metropolis, Maggie Sawyer, the head of the SCU.
Interesting.
Trying to think of who else. There's not really a Metropolis Oracle type person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
But
I do feel like if, Metropolis was across the street, shouldn't, Superman be involved?
Well, in the original story, Superman, I think, shows up once or twice, but Batman's kind of told him, no, don't worry, I got this. Like, this is my city, I'll deal with it.
But we don't have Batman yet.
Yeah, we don't have Batman yet. He might be coming up, I hear.
That's true.
Anything else in the chat room?
Let's see. Metropolis crossover would be something best for Gotham season 6. Joel says, what was up with Penguin's leg brace? Was he able to just walk normal for 20 minutes before he got shot again? The answer is yes.
Yes, and that was
exactly
beautiful.
I just fixed this. Yes, you did.
There was a lot of irony with Penguin in this episode. There was that moment where he finally gets his limp fixed, and then Jim shoots him in the leg.
That was a beautiful moment.
And there was also sort of like a more positive irony when Tavi was trying to shoot him, and he lived because he makes a defective product.
Yes.
It was pretty beautiful.
It was quite beautiful.
Delicious irony.
Overcooked.
Nice. I also really loved how Penguin is really embracing that gluttonous side of him. Back in the first season, we had this theory that because every time Penguin killed somebody,
he put on their clothes.
He put on their clothes and ate something. I think that he ate someone's sandwich or something like that.
Oh, the tuna sandwich.
Oh, and we were like, he's either gonna like layer on the clothes and gain weight, and that's how he'll eventually become the Penguin. In this episode, we see him very much sort of leaning into, I am the haves, they are the have-nots. I'm going to enjoy what I have, which is very close to the characterization of the character in the original No Man's Land comics.
Good to know.
I think that's actually where the sort of characterization of him being sort of like a facilitator to professional criminals in the mob, sort of like the go-to legit businessman that everyone goes to for stuff. I think that's where that concept came from, was the original No Man's Land comics. Neat? What's next? I don't know. What are we talking about? Once upon a time. No, I'm kidding. Flashback.
Sorry.
Okay.
Seizure.
So there was a bit of a story beat dropped in this episode that I think is going to bear some fruit down the line. I titled this point Fish Mooney Witch. Because
a fish mooney bitch.
There was that creepy ass nurse who kept popping her head around the corner. You need the witch. Hold on, let me get close. You need the witch.
I told you needed the witch.
She was creepy. Also, the actress is on Twitter. She followed us today. Hi.
Because I retweeted her.
Nice. But so obviously, this whole witch thing is going to be a big part of the Selina story, at least for this season. So much like my other point, this is a bit of a whodunit, who is it? I jotted down some ideas of who the witch might be. First up, as you can tell from the title, Fish Mooney Witch.
I love it.
Yeah, so she's...
I don't think they'll get Jada, though.
For one, she's a big first season character who while technically dead...
Twice.
Has already died. She's died twice, and dying even twice in Gotham doesn't mean that you aren't coming back at some point.
Sure.
So I think it would be a really cool way to bring her back for one more little boom. there at the end of the series, since she was such an important part of the first season. But another bit of evidence towards this is that Fish Mooney had those crazy mind control-y powers when we last saw her. So perhaps, getting healed, maybe she went back to Professor Strange or something. And
How would she go back to him if she was dead?
Maybe he went and retrieved her body and it did something and added healing into the mix as well.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's how she could be there for Selina.
Okay.
Okay, next up is a character from DC Comics called Zatanna. She is a stage magician. A stage magician with actual powers. She casts spells basically by saying things in reverse. And she's also often associated with Batman and Gotham City and that whole scene in the comics. So I'm thinking maybe, this stage magician. I'm
the one drinking.
I know. It's rubbing off. It's contagious. But, she might be the one to jump in and help Selina out. Maybe bust out a Neelis Claw spell for Selina, which is Selina walk backwards. Which also has the word claw in it, which maybe lends credence to my theory. Okay, next up, I was thinking, Raish is out of the picture for now.
We killed him twice,
he's
too.
Dead. So I was thinking maybe Raish's daughter, Talia al Ghul, could be the witch that would help heal Selina, much like we saw last season when Bruce killed Alfred and he healed Alfred with the Lazarus water. Maybe Talia al Ghul could bring some Lazarus water over for Selina to help cure her of her paralysis.
That could be something.
I thought you saw something in the chat.
I did. I was letting you finish your points, and then I was going to go through what they thought.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, well, I have two more candidates.
I know.
Okay, so next up is Lee. One, we haven't seen her yet, so she has to be somewhere. She's a series regular, and she's married to the main star. So she kind of
There is that.
Now, while she's known for working magic in medical situations, Lee Tompkins isn't exactly a real witch. But again, like I mentioned earlier, last time we saw her, she was on the table of Hugo Strange. And, he could just add about anything in there. So, maybe he gave her some sort of mystical healing power that makes her appear to be a witch to a creepy ass nurse.
Perhaps.
Never know. And last but not least, his name has already been mentioned several times, but maybe the witch is Hugo Strange because, what's the quote here? Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And to this creepy ass nurse, it's very possible that...
No. To this creepy ass nurse who is constantly popping her head around corners.
Who is constantly popping
do the whole thing.
You need the witch. But to her, the kind of things that Hugo Strange can do would definitely appear to be magic. So a lot of witch candidates out there. Which witch will be the bitch? We'll find out.
Let's see. From the chat room.
Jada made it okay.
Jada did make it okay. Love her. Bobby says, please no fish. Peach Fuzz. Hello. Welcome, Peach Fuzz. Says maybe Lee. Sean says maybe the witch is Poison Ivy. Bobby also thinks Talia. And Joel just thinks you're osmosis drunk.
I might be osmosis drunk. Very well might be. One last thing I wanted to say on that is that this plot, I think, is definitely one to watch here because it's going to mean a lot for Bruce and Selina moving forward. Bruce is off on a mission to find the switch. Selina needs the switch to become Catwoman. And, I'm really excited to learn more about this, where this is going, even though it seems like they're going to be leaning into the whole mystical zombie Catwoman side of things like we saw in Batman Returns and the Halle Berry Catwoman movie, which I've never been a big fan of, but if I trust anyone to do it justice, it's probably Gotham.
Haha, Gotham.
Haha, Gotham. All right, Anne-Marie, so you have 1 point.
One last point.
Wrap us up here.
So I have some questions. Shocking, I know. About the little kid who just shows up needing to see Jim Gordon. What are you doing? Checking your teeth?
Sorry, I accidentally peeked into your
my
shot there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sorry for audio listeners who are like, shot, what are you talking about? We do this live on video as well. Sorry.
Can I get back to my point now?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So this little kid who shows up and like all but passes out as soon as he meets Jim Gordon, which completely was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh, he must have made it through multiple sectors. And I'm like, first of all, if he's just a little kid walking down the street, I don't even think most of these big guys are going to mess with him because he's a little kid walking down the street.
I don't know. It is Gotham.
It is Gotham. So who knows? But I feel like it's a setup or a trap.
A setup or a trap? Oh, yeah.
From
definitely.
Jeremiah.
From Jeremiah, you think?
I think it's from Jeremiah.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like, let's see, as the GCPD is prone to do, it seems like all of the officers that they have left are going to go after this hunch to like save his family because they're killing them. And no one is going to stay back and protect home base and the refugees. And something bad is about to go down faux show.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, it's Gotham. If something bad didn't go down.
It's not a good episode.
You know, one theory I saw sort of posited online about this kid is, wasn't there, you know, that little montage they did at the end of last season where they were like, these are all the new monsters you'll meet in No Man's Land next season.
I don't even remember that.
There
was there a little kid?
Yeah, there was one where it was like this. I think I might have seen a reference to the name Mother, but there was this creepy lady walking up on this kid and tapping him on the shoulder or something like that. So that felt like maybe it could have been an orphanage. So maybe this kid is from that woman or from the orphanage.
Well, he did say his brothers and sisters. And
yeah.
It indicated there was quite a few of them.
Which leads credence to your theory that it might be a setup, a trap.
Oh, completely.
Definitely.
It's a total trap.
What do people in the chat room think?
They don't think anything.
They don't think anything?
No.
Come on, people.
Come on, people.
It's easy to think. All you got to do is have a drink. Like Anne-Marie. Okay, so I think that about does it. Is there anything else here?
No, but I think we could skip that one.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so we have reached the end of our discussion points. We did mention we have...
Thank you, come again!
We have whittled them down a little bit just to keep us from having to go to bed past 1 a.m. But we did always end the show with a bit of quibbles and bits. We used to put those in the doc because you couldn't see our notebooks anyway. Now you can, so we're going to just pick up our notebooks where we took all our notes for the show, if you can see it there.
Legit what I just told you could skip.
And we're going to just read a couple things out here.
Legit the opposite of what I said. Okay. I've talked about all of that. Oh, Mr. Penn, it was nice to see him back.
Lots of tension between Tabs and Babs up front, which made it very unfortunate that they that she died before they got to resolve that.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Don't make me kill you, not like this.
I thought that the limp fix on Penguin was due to Robin, the actor, complaining about having to limp all the time, but then they reversed it right at the end anyway, so it didn't even matter.
Why didn't the chopper land at the GCPD?
Why didn't it?
Why didn't it? The ha on the map from Echo.
Let's see here. And I wrote down at one point, Pengy v. Babs, Dawn of Bloodshed. That could be fun. Somewhere in the future. Okay, so I think we're going to work on the quibbles and bits. I think putting them in the doc was a good idea.
No, I think it was fine. Just
okay.
Continue on.
So that concludes our discussion. And as always, we're going to ask you guys in the chat room. I'm going to ask Anne-Marie here and you guys listening at home what you think of the episode via... Represent how you feel about the episode via the arbitrary scale. Now, Anne-Marie.
Yes.
Out of 3,000 defective penguin bullets with one overcooked steak, how many defective penguin bullets with one overcooked steak do you give it? And you have to say that entire line.
Okay. I'm going to give it 2,561 defective penguin bullets and 1/3 of an overcooked steak.
Why?
Because we were still missing some of our favorite characters. There's lots to come, obviously. So I can't wait to see what all is gonna go on. And only 1/3 of the overcooked steak because it didn't look overcooked. And I think he's just crazy.
He's just too picky.
He is too picky.
There's so much to come. Anyone voting in the chat room yet?
Not yet.
Okay. As for me, I am going to give it. No, I'm going to give it 2,800 defective penguin bullets with one overcooked steak.
Okay.
Really solid episode right out of the gate. There was a lot of information they had to get to us, and they did a really, really good job sort of giving that to us quickly and then getting into a real meaty story right up front. There's also, it's one of my favorite storylines from the comics, and the fact that Bruce is going to be Batman soon. I mean, I'm freaking out every day, man. I can't wait for the next episode.
Man.
I'm freaking out. Okay, anything else from the...
Sean says 3,000 unusual bullets, which is interesting because we were not talking about unusual bullets. We were talking about defective
bullets.
You'll learn. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Joel has 2,500 defective bullets and 1 overcooked steak. Bobby says 2,900 bullets and half an overcooked steak.
Well, Bobby actually gave it more than I did.
I know. That doesn't happen often.
Very nice. Okay, so...
5 uncooked steaks. 1. See, Sean, now I just don't even know.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
We're caught in the chat room. But that does it for this week. We're going to be talking more next week. But now, on to the news. News. One story. We are not going to be doing the news segment anymore. We are trying to trim down the episode a little bit. Plus, it's the last season, so really, who cares about the news anyway? All it's going to be is spoilers and all that kind of stupid stuff. So, no more news. We wanted to do the news one last time, just for funsies.
And Peach Fuzz gives it 2,500 bullets and 1 properly cooked medium rare steak. And I approve of that steak, and I would like one right now.
Nice, very nice. Okay, so let's see here. Let me get
What are you doing over there?
I have so much stuff on the desk.
You had so much more space.
Out.
Okay, so questions and feedback while Bill tries to load up 600 things.
Questions and feedback. As always, when you get done watching the episode, you don't have to run like you used to.
Nope, you have a few days. Take your time, do a few drafts.
I would still suggest a healthy jaunt over to your computer or device. You can email us legendsofgotham@gmail.com. The voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Our Twitter's at Legends of Gotham. If you haven't went and refollowed it, go ahead and do that.
There was a switcheroo that happened.
Yeah, there was a switcheroo with another project, and so just go back and follow Legends of Gotham again to catch our live tweets. And the Facebook is /Legends of Gotham. Okay, as always, we're going to start off with some voicemails. And who's our first voicemail, Anne-Marie?
Bobby Hawk.
Bobby Hawk, take it away, Bobby.
Hey, Bill and Anne-Marie and fellow Gothamites. It's Bobby here. Long time no here. It's been quite a while. First of all, let me just say, I don't know if to any of you like former listeners, this would be no surprise, but I was never the biggest fan of Gotham, specifically in its first few seasons. While I felt it could be either hit or miss, the hits were great, but I felt the hits were few and far between. With elements like Fish Mooney and whatnot, it just got to be a bit too hammy, although that is what this show kind of is built for. It did find its footing later, but, and so I just, once Bill and Anne-Marie decided to hang up the cows, I never really, I lost interest in the show. I never really kept up with it.
We never really hung up our cows. I mean, I wear mine to bed every night.
I'd read up on news and kind of kept up with the story of it, but never watched the show again. Maybe an episode or two here or there. That being said, once Bill and Anne-Marie decided to come back for the final season, I wanted to catch up and really see where this was all. What am I saying? I wanted to catch up if I was going to be invested in the podcast. And let me say, I was not disappointed whatsoever. Specifically, like I said, the as it went on, it really found its footing. It's still got that hamminess, but it's got that edge and. Wow, even with this being the last season, this first episode held nothing back. They do an excellent job of exposition with Jim Gordon at the radio, kind of setting up what we're going into with this whole no man's land thing. I loved the cold open, the day 391 thing, like all of them working together towards, I guess, what's that, mutants down on the ground or something, maybe. I'm not sure. I couldn't really make that out.
Oh, that's true. It could be... From Dark Knight Returns, there's the whole mutant gang. Oh. Maybe that's the people outside the wall. Good call, Bobby.
More explaining why I don't get it.
Referring to like the Dark Knight story. But anyway, the the GCPD working with the criminals, Ed, being as cool as he is, even though as we see him in this episode is even more Jekyll and Hyde than he ever has been. Like, a year, I guess a year ago from that front thing. I'm being all over the place here, but
One thing I forgot about Bobby's voicemails,
They're long.
it's also a lot of times it's like half of my notes from the episode condensed. It's always like completely coincidental.
They read each other's minds.
We do.
It's a little scary.
It's cool though.
We like it.
I'm sorry. This was a great episode. Ed's trying to solve the riddle of like, Edward, Ed, what's going on here. And so he's like trying to solve his own riddle. That was pretty cool. And Penguin coming into his own, finally fixing his leg, and only to have Jim Gordon take it out again. The Scarecrow was like probably one of my favorite things of this episode. The design of him and everything about the Scarecrow at this point. My girlfriend was in the room with me. She was like, "Oh my God, that's just nightmare fodder." The whole crow things, is like his minions or whatever. Loved every bit of that. What else am I going for here? Tabitha, I did not realize that they were going to take out Tabitha so soon. So quick. Will she stay dead? Not sure. Probably, I think so at this point, to be honest with you. Lee, I
actually thought that seemed more like the actress had found a new project or something like that, so she wanted to get done early. Or maybe. A lot of times with final seasons too, it's just a matter of
killing everybody off.
Yeah, killing everybody off or having everyone exit the stage a little bit. Like if you've ever watched the documentary on the last season of Breaking Bad, there's a whole section on that about how it was this guy's last day, it was the next person's last day, on down the line.
So what's going on there? We do know at the end of last season or whatever, we got that tease of like Hugo having Lee and Nigma, and we see Nigma now going through whatever he's going through. So what exactly is going on with Lee? I know we've seen previews of her acting more or less normal, being a doctor again. So I like to see where that's going to go. Selina, such a heartbreaking story there. Can't wait to see where that goes. I mean, just everything about this. How are they all going to be working together after what Jim did to Penguin? Then, of course, Harley. Is that even Harley? I don't know. I've heard news that isn't Harley. Their version of Harley, whatever. Echo. When she shows up at the GCPD and draws the whole Jeremiah thing on the map. Even though we haven't seen Jeremiah this episode, we know he's back now.
It is pretty obvious that their Echo is supposed to be a proto Harley at the very least.
Yeah.
And then who is this witch character that they keep?
Exactly.
So much.
Who is the witch?
So much to think about. And okay, I mean, I'm all over the place, and I know this is a long-winded voicemail at this point, so I just got to get to I've probably missed most of what I want to say, but I've touched on most of what Anyway.
I love Bobby. He just gets so excited. So excited.
Ratings. Okay. Out of 1,347 rounds of ammo, I'm going to say maybe only 30 of them misfired. So that still leaves us, 1,317?
Yeah, that's better than Penguins.
Good math in my head. I'm not sure. Okay, so out of 1,300 rounds of ammo, I give it 1,317. Such a great lead up into what to expect in the last season, and even though it's the last season now, and now I'm so invested in it, I can't wait to see what they have coming.
This makes me so happy, Bobby.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Bobby. By the way, while Bobby was talking, I pulled out this wonderful birthday present he picked up for me last year. Thank you very much, Bobby. I still haven't found a good place to hang it yet. I will.
It's because he hasn't bought a frame for it yet.
Next up, we have a voicemail from Rebecca. Take it away, Rebecca.
What's up, Legends of Gotham?
What's up?
This is Rebecca Johnson, and I just have some thoughts about the Season 5 premiere titled Legend the Dark Knight Hero. I love the opening sequence for this week because by only using images and music, it trusted me as the viewer to figure out what's going on. Opening up the season like that was an immersive way to get me back into the show. And the sequence is a puzzling one because it starts off from the future and it shows us an alliance that hasn't formed yet. So I'm excited to see how we get there. I thought the premiere was also really bold in its storytelling. They didn't save a big death for the finale. They killed Tabby right away. I always figured that she wouldn't make it, but I wasn't expecting her demise so soon. Her death is a useful device to set up the heated dynamic between Oswald and Stabby Babs, so I'm now on the edge of my seat with those two. The only thing I didn't like about this premiere was the overuse of the word refugee.
Wasn't it Stabby Tabs this week, though?
Yeah. Okay, so
Stabby Tabs.
Jim, a bunch of refugees are here. Really, Harv? What are we going to do with all these refugees? Hey, what are we going to do with all these refugees? That's what it sounded like in my head while I was watching the show. I get it. They're trying to make a political statement, but did they have to use it like 3 times? Supergirl on the CW does that nonsense all the time, and I'm just so over it.
Yeah, Supergirl. Rebecca hosts Supergirl Radio, by the way, and yeah, Supergirl is very much known for being very over the top with some of their references, for sure.
Because being a blogger is easy.
Gotham was my DC show that just told Batman universe stories, and I liked having, pun intended, refuge from the political agendas. So I'm really disappointed that Gotham went there.
I will say that, was it last season or the season before when Penguin became mayor? They did a lot of that stuff too, but it was a bit more subtle. They tried to draw some parallels between Trump and Oswald Cobblepot Penguin.
Did they?
Yeah, a bit like it was make Gotham great again and all that stuff.
Oh, that's because it was during the campaign.
Yeah. So that was a bit hit you over the head with it too, which some people like Rebecca might not like.
But that's a minor criticism for an otherwise solid premiere that set up story, and I'm just curious to see where it all goes from here. So glad the show and your podcast are back.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you, Rebecca. It's always wonderful to hear your voice both here
and on the Fakest.
She's one of the main. She's probably the secondary character. Probably will be the main character by the time we're done with it. Okay. Next up, we have Andy. Go ahead and take it away, Andy.
What up, ladies of Gotham people?
What up?
Eddie B from the Flash Podcast. Welcome back. Missed you all. Best announcement of the year that you guys were coming back. So I'm glad to have you guys along with the final season of Gotham. So because it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was empty without y'all last season. So
thank you.
Welcome back. Glad you guys are back. So this season premiere, I mean, from other previous seasons that has had their final season premieres, this was definitely one of my favorites. It opened big, it felt big. I felt the stakes were high more than ever, and it feels like it's a you can tell that this story is coming to an end soon, but yet we're just at the beginning. So the biggest thing for me was definitely Tabitha's death, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought she was always going to die, but I didn't know it was going to happen this soon in the season. So, I mean, who knows who else might die?
I'm calling Bruce.
My favorite aspect of the episode was definitely Bruce and Gordon, their respective fights, because, we're seeing Bruce now finally becoming, he's growing up, he's becoming bigger and so on. He's becoming more heroic. And Gordon, he's becoming the Gordon we all know and love. We just need a mustache. Just saying, Ben McKenzie, just saying. And, all these mysteries that are around the city and so on, with Nigma and all that, it's just so delicious to watch. So it was, again, one of my favorite seasons. I mean, not to plug all the other DC TV shows, but this has been Gotham is following all their DC TV shows with great season premieres. So it's great to have this awesome season for all of these TV shows. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the story is going, and of course I'm sad the show's coming to an end. But hey, we get to end on 100 episodes, with this show gets to go out on its own terms, not by Fox's terms or anything like that and so on. So I'm happy. I'm really happy about it, and I'm happy you guys are back. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about the season premiere and the whole season. I will definitely be tuning in as much as I can live when you guys are doing it. So all the best. Love you all. Welcome back. So happy you're back. You're my fave. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Andy. And as always, once Gotham's done, we're actually going to be done this time.
Because there will be no more Gotham to talk about.
Yeah, but Andy and all of his great people over there at DCTVpodcast.com.
They talk about everything.
Every show.
Everything.
Including one of my recent favorites, Titans, on the DC Universe.
I love that you look at me as if I've watched it.
That you've mentioned it to me. I was recommending it to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's too many Great British Bake Off championships.
We have one more voicemail here from Joel from Portland, who has also been on the Fakest, by the way. He's in the chat room. He sent it to us like 5 minutes before the show, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get this to play here. Fingers crossed.
Come on, Googles.
Check it out.
Hey, Bill and Emery, it's Joel from Portland. You're back. We're back. We're all back. So excited.
We're back. A dinosaur story.
We have a brand new season. Last season, year 1. Actually, it's year 0, but either way, that first cold opening, I'm sure everyone's going to call it the whole episode, but the cold opening, that's all I want to talk about. I want to know for what reason they all decided to team up. Who has a tank down below that they're shooting at? When does Oswald decide to wear round glasses? And when did he finally make up with Ed Nigma to join up with the GCPD and start getting tactical to take out who I'm assuming may be Jerome or Bane or whoever it's supposed to be down below?
Yeah, because in this episode, Penguin's not thinking much of Ed at all. In fact, he actually named his dog Ed.
Oh, Dog Ed.
At the season finale. I'm also nervous about whether or not David can fill out a Batman costume. He seems a little short, but I guess that's all going to come to fruition.
He's as tall as Jim now.
Yeah.
He grew.
I mean, throw him a couple roll-up socks. I'm sure he'll be fine.
This season, so I'm looking forward to it. And so thanks, guys, for coming back. Interested in your thoughts. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Joel, for coming back. It's great to hear from you again. I mean, I've emailed back and forth with you a few times for the Fakest stuff, but feels like it's been forever since I've had you actually talking to me
instead of reciting lines.
So thank you very much for that. Okay, we have a couple little bits and bobbles, odds and ends to finish up here with. We got some. We posted a sort of new Zero episode last week announcing we were coming back, and we got some comments on YouTube we wanted to point out here. First of all, Cliff Huxtable.
Interesting.
Might want to change your username based on recent events, but says, glad to see you back. Also love Night Court. We had a Night Court poster in the background of the shot. Sean Barr, who is in the chat room, who is also on the Fakest, says, yes, the best podcast hosts ever are back, baby.
Thank you very much.
Glad to see your wonderful faces again. Can't wait until next Sunday. See you then.
That's now. That's now. Exactly. He can't wait until now. He can't wait.
Telling everyone I know to subscribe. Go Legends of Gotham.
Woohoo!
And then Rebecca Duck Milk Prod on YouTube, who we heard from a few minutes ago, says, watching Gotham just wasn't the same without you. Good news. Exactly. Okay, you want to read this one from Mike?
Sure. Okay. Hi, Bill and Anne-Marie. Page turn. Okay. I don't know if this email account is... Oh, this is an old one. Okay, this account is still open.
Yeah, these emails here... These
two.
Are ones
there's
we
two
received,
that are old, and then there's one that's new.
We received them in between closing the show and starting the show again.
So this could really be from a year and a half ago.
Like, I wiped a few of them out, but there were a couple that I was like, if we ever go back on, maybe we could read these. So
okay. I don't know if this email account is still open, but I'm listening to an older podcast, Face Up, where you both discussed how Jerome could potentially end up in the asylum with Harleen, aka Babs. I think I might know how they could do it. So she got the good old electroshock therapy at the end of season 3 finale, right? I'm gonna go with sure. See, we're thinking surely Babs can't die, right? This is true. We've tried a few times. But then, is dead ever dead in Gotham? No. So, what if when she is brought back, she is rebooted with a new story like Strange gave Gallivan and attempted to do with Fish? Either that or the electrocution alone might just scramble her eggs. Looking forward to next season. I'm sure you all are too. Later, guys. Mike.
Or she'll just bounce back thanks to Raish.
Or we'll talk about it a year and a half later.
And not really have anything of value to add, because we don't even remember what was going on there.
Not really. Sorry.
Okay, next up we have one from Heather here. And Heather says, Dear Legends of Gotham, Bill and Anne-Marie, I am terribly sad to say goodbye to this podcast. I am going to miss it so much. Mm-hmm. It is truly one of my favorite podcasts I listen to. The only one I currently listen to for Gotham, and I definitely know that there will be a little hole in my heart that I won't have this companion for any future Gotham seasons.
Lies!
Frowny face.
Sorry.
I hope one or both of you will still live tweet Gotham episodes on Twitter if you're able.
We tried.
Anyway, I can see your thoughts on the episode is better than nothing at all. Best wishes, Heather. I did email Heather.
Did you email her? Good.
To let her know we were coming back for
Yay.
sure. And then you have one from Monica.
I have one from Monica.
Right?
Okay, this is the one that's like more current. Monica.
Oh, actually, before you read that, we do like to have our chat room vote on episode titles. Let me give you the options here. The Gotham Dead, Season of the Witch, It's Edvolution Baby, We Can't Math, and Stabby Tab. So go ahead and vote in the chat room while Anne-Marie
if you can
reads
remember
this last
any
letter.
of what he just said. Okay, Monica, so glad to have y'all back. So let's get right into it. Love Jim's exposed to the powers that looped us in without making a known loved characters look stupid. Oh, his exposition. Got it. I especially loved how I could hear the unspoken F-bomb in the middle of Jim saying a committee. Now we're in the hospital, Selina. Why isn't the doc speaking to her, but only with those who are of no relation? And one of them is a minor. Stupid patriarchy and anti-HIPAA nonsense. The Riddler, they're paying. The Riddler wakes up on the rooftop. Why are his pants too short? LOL. If Ed is sneaking around, I'd wager he's nursing Doc back to health after stabbing her. There's a whole new theory.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I guess because he could be nursing her back to health off screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what she meant by that.
Yeah.
Random thought. Where are the cops living? GCPD has a 10-block radius, but certainly they don't all live that close. No, I'm pretty sure they're all living in that one building.
Yeah, because it seems like the rest of the city is a little too dangerous to be in by yourself.
A little bit, yeah.
Although,
except for that kid who walked through multiple sections.
During the main show, you brought up Wayne Manor.
Yes, and no one's in Wayne Manor to the best of our knowledge.
I think Wayne Manor is on outside of the city limits, so I wonder if they can still get out there or not.
Then why didn't you bring that up when I asked about it?
I don't know. I was letting you flow.
I'm hitting him if you were asking. Okay. Random thought. Oh, no. Did that one already. In Jim's fight with Scarecrow, what stopped the steam from the pipe? Watched it twice. Still couldn't figure it out. Your guess is as good as ours. Mm-hmm. Harvey has been making a lot of sense this whole episode. I wonder how much of a parallel this is to the Puerto Rico post-Hurricane Maria. Have you guys gotten much info? We get no info about anything, Hurricane Maria or Gotham. Okay, why is this chopper flying this low? Makes no sense. Well, it was landing. Mm-hmm. So that kind of...
as someone who works at a building where a chopper lands 4 or 5 times a day, they can get really low and just like hang out there kind of creepily. Kind of like the nurse. Like, hey, you need a witch.
Penguin is seriously going to regret killing Tabitha. So stupid to think he could put it behind them. One question, Bill, the comic book reader. Who is the witch? We talked about that.
I wish I had thought to talk about that earlier in the episode, Monica. I apologize.
Except that we did.
No, but I have some theories. You can
refer back to half an hour ago.
You can hit the rewind button on your tape player about 45 minutes to see that.
So excited to have y'all back. See you in a few hours, Monica.
Thank you very much, Monica. And I don't know if I saw her in the chat room or not, but if you're out there, hi, how's it going?
Hi.
Okay, so next week, as always, we're going to be recording Sunday nights, 9 p.m. EST at youtube.universebox.com. I recommend you go there and subscribe.
And hit the little bell.
We've
never been the person. Click that little bell. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up.
Ring that bell.
Our kids watch too much YouTube.
Ring that bell. Okay, no, but definitely go over there and subscribe so you can get notified when we're going live. We go live 9 p.m. Sunday nights after the episode of Gotham airs. You can email us, legendsofgotham@gmail.com. You can tweet us at Legends of Gotham. The Facebook is facebook.com/legendsofgotham. And the voicemail number, as always, is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And do we have many votes?
I have a Season of the Witch and a Stabby Tabs. Meanwhile, with Ed the Dog, I think that was something else. No, that's it.
Okay.
So it's going to be on us.
It'll be on us for the episode title. So Anne-Marie, where can people find you?
Oh, I forgot about this part.
You forgot about it, huh?
I totally. It's not in here. You can find me on Twitter at DeSimone, which I'm really never there. Or you can follow my planner Instagram at NotSoPrettyPlanner.
At Not So Pretty Planner. That's fine.
That's fine. That's what I do.
Okay, as for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. I am going to be updating over the next month or two, BillMeeks.com, so check that out when you get a chance. And as we mentioned before, thanks to our wonderful sponsor, The Fakest, which I write and star in and coordinate.
And do
and
all the
a lot
things.
of our friends are in it, and I love them for it. Thank you guys so much.
It's really, really funny.
Check it out, thefakest.com, or just search for Fakest in iTunes.
Truth.
So I think that about does it. We're going to be back next week, like we said. It'll be exciting. So join us next time for more
Legends of Gotham. Hey, I got it right.
You did.
I think.
Now, there we
There
go.
it is.